time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? This your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my new podcast studio in the city of Sin City of Las Vegas, the 702, for another edition of the Shoe Shine. Joining me as always, all the way from the city of brotherly love, is my homeboy Philly Irish Drew Evo. Drew, ¿qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. For those of you guys don't know, I'm out here on the West Coast, and like I just said, Drew's out in Philadelphia, so I appreciate it. It is a little bit late in the evening for him. And let me know what you guys think, man. If you've been following the Shoe Shine, if it's too late, 7:30 is too late, 7:40, let me know, man. Shout out to the guys joining us in the chat right away. Nando Lamas joining us, our homeboy Chicano Prophet, all the way from Al Chile Crew on YouTube. Make sure you check him out. Subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to the Shoe Shine, guys, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs for a big YouTube event in October. And that's quite a challenge because it's taken us this long just to pass the 500 mark. So do make sure to check that subscription. Hit the bell notification so you know when we're live and all that good stuff, man. Guys, it was not really an eventful weekend, Drew. You know, in fact, I could kind of say that I took the weekend off from the sport of boxing. I did catch the Clarissa Shields fight, and I have to say I wasn't very excited about it. Shout out to her for putting on a solid performance in her hometown, but against a late last minute replacement, Drew. I seen her opponent fight before. I seen her fight the hard-hitting diva that was signed HH, I believe, who signed the Golden Boy. I've seen her fight. You know, I've seen Cornejo fight, and I wasn't expecting much of anything. And by the way, for former law enforcement, she now lives in Las Vegas and trains with the trainer Brian Mendoza, of a lot of great fighters. I'm talking about Ismael Salas, man. Just tons of great fighters, Drew. We can start with that, Drew, or we can start with the hot gossip, because I always like to start the show off with some hot gossip. If you guys want to get in on the conversation, you guys can also join us by calling 702-710-3627. Drew, should we start off with this Ryan Garcia bullshit? Because people love all the drama surrounding Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. It never ends, Drew. Your thoughts this weekend on Ryan Garcia? To me, I think Ryan Garcia is crying over spilled milk, as the expression says. What do you think?
Hey, it was fucked up. This team wasn't there after the fight at the post-conference. Only way I don't know who the hell that guy was that was referenced from Golden Boy, but that was the only guy who was there. But I understand that, but at the same time, he keeps bringing up rehydration, but you signed the contract to do that, so you have no reason to bitch. I don't understand, like, why does he keep bringing up a rehydration clause when he agreed to it?
Amongst other things, guys. I mean, here's the graphic of what went down this weekend on social media. Again, we have this replay. Basically, Drew, you're one of your top fighters or top grossing fighters or star power in Ryan Garcia arguing with his promoter online, and Oscar not afraid to dish it back. I don't know. The words speak for themselves here, Drew. It's odd to see them play out these arguments online, but maybe it's just a generational divide thing, Drew. I mean, Ryan is Gen Z, and Oscar, well, shit, Oscar's in my age category. I mean, is this a generational issue where you have to hash out your beef, publicly to get attention, man? What's going on with that?
Oscar, the way Oscar is, they have two different mindsets on, like, promoter and fighter. They don't see eye to eye, which is a big issue for business. Like, Oscar is trying to make him as much money as possible, and does not really, the way he's trying to promote him, he's not really considering him a real fighter anymore. He's trying to get him a Manny Pacquiao fight, which is more like an exhibition and everything. If they want to look at it like that, because he sees that Ryan Garcia is not going to beat a legitimate top tier fighter in this division, even any division he fights in.
Well, that's the caveat, Drew, because one of the biggest gripes that Ryan Garcia had last week is the fact that Rolando Romero of Las Vegas, Rolly Romero, the new WBA champ, however he won that title just a few weeks back, he was upset that Rolly was invited to the fight at the Indian Casino, and that he was an honorary guest of Oscar. Meanwhile, okay, his very own words. This is his wish list here. 3 people I want to fight next. Rolly, Isaac Cruz, who's never fought at 140. The fight didn't materialize at 135. Or Teofimo Lopez. And this weekend is Teofimo fight weekend, Drew. Clearly, Rolly Romero is the easiest of the 3 of the bunch. Okay, Rolly Romero. And he's the newly signed WBA champ, Drew. So why the F is he crying about Oscar hanging out or inviting the guy? I mean, he's doing business as I've got to defend Oscar here. I'm your promoter. I'm trying to work a deal here, right? Right? So he's crying like a little bitch on social media all weekend. And then today, Drew, everybody's telling me about what happened today on Instagram over here. Wouldn't you know it? Ryan is very happy to put this poster out that he says this fight's going to happen in September, which is also, guys, remember, is Mexican Independence Day. And Ryan wants nothing more than to throw shade at his former stablemate in Canelo Alvarez, which everybody knows Canelo's the face of boxing. That's September 16th, the biggest Mexican holiday, one of the biggest pay-per-view weekends historically in the sport of boxing. And Ryan all of a sudden is talking about this big September date, right? So, you're not going to try to, you're not going to try to fuck with Canelo on this day, man. So you better be looking at the holiday weekend or the weekend after. But yeah, man, I don't know. He's crying. And look, now he's on his own words, on his own IG account. This is the fight he really wants. And I don't blame Ryan. Shit. Is it cherry picking? Call it what you want, man. Rolly wants to fight too. Rolly wants this fight because he knows it's easy money and they have a history of sparring in Las Vegas. They both know what each other is capable of.
There's always a but in everything. He can't fight Ryan Garcia next because the WBA's ordering him to fight someone else or vacate his WBA belt. So that fight's not happening. Sorry to be the baker of bad news, everybody. It's how it is. And the WBA has stepped in and made sure this fight does not happen next unless Rolly wants to lose that belt. And I don't think Rolly's going to wants to lose that belt. So he's going to fight this guy. And,
I did see the WBA mandatory. I don't know much about him, guys. In fact, the name escapes me right now. If you guys want to throw it up in the chat, they say good things about the guy. Will they actually be serious? What's his name?
Ohoa? Divas? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, if they enforce it, this throws a potential super match, like you said, Drew, and a loss against a non-40-year-old Barrosa and a much younger ranked opponent would totally derail Rolly's dream of a big purse, man. But this is the fight Oscar wants. This is the fight that Rolly wants. And we know how easy some of these sanctioning bodies are to be swayed. Step aside money is a real thing, Drew. Step aside contracts happen all the time where you step aside in the name of a big, tremendous fight. So hopefully Oscar will be able to negotiate this and work this thing out because, hey, 140-pound division, and we're going to get to that, is the most exciting division I think that is going to, in the next year, this division is heating up big time again, Drew. With Regis Prograis picking up one of the belts, Josh Taylor fighting this weekend, giving Teofimo the former undisputed lightweight champ. I mean, I say it in quotations. This division's heating up.
Like, I look at it like this. Oscar should just cut his losses and just release this, buy this kid out and not even promote him because all he's been doing is showing he's a crybaby. He can't own up to his own failures. He can't own up to, hey, I signed a contract for a rehydration clause. This is on me. But your promoter did not advise you to do that. Your promoter tried to save your ass and try to be doing what's best for you and advise you not to sign this contract, but you did anyway. So your promoter did everything he can to promote the fight, to know that he was going to cash out on you, and which he did. Yeah. He cashed out on you. So he should just say, you know what? Buy him out. I will buy him out if I was Oscar and let him go wherever he wants, because tell you the truth, Ryan is just going to keep bashing you. And this isn't the first time Ryan's bashed his promoter on social media. He's always going to do it because it brings his follow, it brings attention to him. It keeps clout. It keeps something to his name and everything. Like, Ryan Garcia is really making an ass out of himself, but at the same time, keeping clout in this whole situation.
You know, it's interesting because of the Four Kings narrative that happened when you had the Four Kings narrative of Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney being the future of the lightweight division. I have to say, most of those guys, with the exception of Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, have legitimate resumes. And Devin Haney had the easiest path to becoming undisputed, in my opinion, Drew, with a very questionable, controversial win over Lomachenko. There was no controversy in my eyes. Teofimo beat Lomachenko, the pound-for-pound great, at a better point in Lomachenko's career. Beat him 7-5 in my books. Teofimo has the best resume of 135 pounds to do what he did, the takeover. Now, I said this earlier today in Calix show. Shout out to D-Styles and Calix. I said it. I am no fan of Teofimo and his fucking antics. But what he did at 135 was very impressive for a 23-year-old to amount all those wins consecutively, taking out every champion in succession to get to that Lomachenko fight. Everything fell apart after that, man. And some people could say Kambosos, that Teofimo's never been the same after the fight with Kambosos.
Especially his dad after having been drinking the night of the fight.
Speaking of Teofimo, I'm jumping the gun here, guys, but I did watch Marcos Villegas on Fight Hub TV for what was a very, very interesting Teofimo Lopez interview this afternoon that also featured Adrien Broner. So shout out to Marcos Villegas and Fight Hub TV. Drew, Teofimo is as delusional and as nuts as ever. This guy needs help, man. There's just to be at the level of a professional athlete that he's at is unbelievable. And even more so if he was clinically diagnosed with something like bipolarism or depression. Like, it's unbelievable that he did what he did if he suffers from that. But I've got members in my family who suffer with very similar issues, Drew. And I have to tell you, I think, it's just my humble opinion, but from observation, that he has some issues that need help. And it's incredible. Like, I ain't no psychologist, but it's incredible he could do what he did, Drew. But he sound batshit crazy. Marcos Villegas. People were saying he sounds like the Kanye West of professional boxing. That he is the Kanye West, man. He's kind of deluded.
You know what? I'm just worried about certain people. I'm worried about when this dude loses, if a certain somebody's gonna fake another car accident.
Oh shit!
So, you know,
hey,
I'm just gonna put it out there like that because, like, he was on a show and he was saying that I'm gonna kill this dude and everything, man. Like, come on, that's not necessary, man. You got fucking mental issues. You're already mentally checked out because you mentally questioning yourself about this shit. And you, like, seriously, man, you really got issues, man. Like, it's just. You got issues. Your dad got issues, man. You never were the same after that Lomachenko fight. And, like, it's just fucking pathetic.
Man, I'll sing Teofimo praises later in the show, Drew, because I have to say this about him. As Devin Haney says, he's questioning whether or not he'll keep all his titles and jump up to the 140-pound weight division and join him. Teofimo expressed his interest in that. Ryan Garcia is now officially at 140 pounds. Teofimo is taking the toughest route to becoming a 2-division weight champion. Oh, no doubt about that, man. He did not have to pick Josh Taylor. Okay, he could have signed on to somebody, but there are no easy fights other than Raleigh Romero, which is why it sucks if Ryan Garcia gets that opportunity, that of all the people that merit it, he's going to be the one to pick up that fight. So let's just quickly pivot back. Okay, guys, thank you guys. If you guys want to hop in on the conversation and give us a call. Chicano Prophet says, will Drew address the Teofimo fanboys? I want him to, but later. I just want to pay my respects to the greatest woman of all time.
Just dead.
The greatest woman of all time champion, Drew. Clarissa Shields sold out her, she didn't sell it out, man. She sold some tickets, okay? But she headlined her event in her native state, Drew. Like I was mentioning, Cornejo was a last-minute replacement. Okay, her original opponent said that she got tested for a banned anabolic steroid because she was rubbing the cream on her dog that had just had surgery. Now even the women are doing the TRT, testosterone, Drew. Can it get any more dirtier than that? And will Clarissa Shields ever really be a full-fledged star, commercial breakover, crossover star?
You know what? I'm really, really like, why I am not calling her the greatest woman of all time, because she's not. Because if you look at it like this, when you get more up in weight in women's boxing, it's less competitive. There's less fighters in those divisions, and mostly a lot of those fighters have under 500 records. So how can we consider her an all-time great at this level? It's a really, like, there's not really a lot of names or a lot of good fighters that she could fight in the upper weight classes. Like,
right. And they're talking about her moving down to one. She's talking about, for the right amount of money, she'll go down to as low as 147, which I believe is Jessica McCaskill territory. Like, that's a lot of weight to cut.
Yeah, and she's going to have to do that in order to get some recognition, because from 147 down, they're the best weight classes. You have to consider them the best of the best. Like, I think, in my opinion, I thought Cecilia Brækhus was the greatest woman fighter of all time. In my opinion, like, Brækhus is just really was that good. She fought McCaskill. They both are debatable decisions, losses that she took and everything. But, like, I really believe that those lower weight classes are the best weight classes of women's boxing. Like Amanda Serrato, she has what is she, like 7 weight division champion? Mm-hmm. She's like the Manny Pacquiao of the fucking women's boxing, all the fucking shit she collected and everything. But Katie Taylor, undisputed. Chantel Cameron, undisputed. Jessica McCaskill, undisputed. Lisa Bongano, undisputed. Like, and there are more fighters in these weight divisions, and there are a lot more better fighters in that weight division too. Like, I think if she would have fought Gabriel, I really think this was going to be a difficult fight for her. She knocked her down the last time they fought. Right. And so I thought it was going to be a more difficult fight. I really thought she could possibly beat Clarissa Shields this time around, but they stopped it. They didn't let her do it, and they replaced her with this girl that really had no business in there.
Cornejo's coming off so many losses is incredible. She keeps getting fights. I'm not sure if she even maintained the relationship with the Oscar as her promoter, Drew, but she was moving up in weight. And like, I don't know if you guys even caught this story, but she alluded that her breast implants, Cornejo had breast implants put in, and she had them taken out because she felt that they were causing tremendous damage to her physically, which is a lot of other women who do implants. And there's some limited research on, side effects to it, Drew. But it's almost like she was implying that the breast implants and the illness she felt as a result was what was impeding her career in boxing. I saw no improvement in Cornejo at all. So it's just anecdotal. I don't know, Drew. Again, she was moving up in weight, Drew. You just said it. And our boy Nando Lama says, Clarissa can't even KO inferior competition. I'm not interested at all. I'm sorry. You're right, guys. I was hoping to see a knockout from the greatest woman of all time. That's what I want to see if you want to really get people excited about your career in boxing.
Tell you the truth, I wasn't interested in it, and I think the people that want to say, "Oh, she's good," and everything, I think they just want to have some type of hope or something and everything, and it's a fucking disgrace. And like, I'm sorry, but she gets no fucking props from me. This was a fucking boring fight.
It was boring. It was a boring weekend for boxing.
I fucking almost fell asleep watching it a couple times. It was that fucking boring, and I'm glad I didn't pay for it. And fucking DAZN should be ashamed of themselves. You're charging $225 a year, and you're bringing up fights. This bullshit. As one of the fights to pay for
this weekend, they're going to redeem themselves with such a very heavy fight between Derevchenko and Jaime Mumguia. We're going to get to that. Ruli Ramundo, shout out to you. He says Baumgartner. I think he's alluding to Baumgartner. Of course, she'll be back in the ring very soon, Drew. A favorite of Drew Evil on the show, for real, for real.
Damn right she is.
All right, guys, let's get on to let's get on to that Derevchenko and Jaime Mumguia, and then we'll get to our breakdown of the Teofimo versus Joshua Taylor fight. But finally, at the age of 26, can you believe this guy's been fighting that long, Drew? And he's got nearly 50 career fights. I'm talking about Jaime Mumguia from Tijuana under the tutelage of Eric Morales. Finally, Drew, fighting somebody, a live body on his resume. But man, I got to tell you, Derevchenko with 4 very credible losses to Charlo, to Gennady Golovkin, which was so razor thin, Drew. A lot of people think he should have picked up that win.
He won that fight.
Danny Jacobs. These are all great names at one point in the middleweight division. Of course, Charlo's still the middleweight champ of the world. Gennady Golovkin, former, unified champion, one of the best middleweights. These are losses against real people. So finally, Drew, at 26, fighting someone now at the end of his career. Do you think, man, this is finally the real test? And I got a call, so we'll pick up on the call real quick and let him chime in on this. But I'll go with you first, Drew, and then we'll have our caller chime in on that.
I look at it like this. I think Derevchenko's been through wars already, and I thought he won the Triple G fight wide. I had it 9-3 Derevchenko. So I just think he's been through the wars already. I think this is really not so, like, I think he got Derevchenko at the right time, in my opinion.
You think he's shot worn?
Yeah, I think this was the right time for them to match him up with someone like Derevchenko. He's been through wars and everything. But it is going to be somewhat of a test to see where do we go from here after this fight with Hyman, because you're going to have to bump him up in competition eventually, man. You're going to have to get this guy to fight a top-tier fighter.
Okay. Is it going to be his new stablemate over at Golden Boy Promotions and Edgar Berlanga? Or is Oscar just pitting both of these guys to see which one of these guys gets the first lottery ticket? I thought
Berlanga was with Matchroom.
Oh, you're right. No.
But he could make the fight with him because they're on DAZN.
Right. All right, we got 510 on the air with us with the Shoe Shine. 510, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Dave? What's up, Drew? It's Nando. How you guys doing?
What's good, Nando, man? Are you excited about this weekend? I think there's a couple good fights on competing networks. What do you think?
I'm super excited for this weekend, man, especially compared to last weekend with the Clarissa fight, man. I didn't even bother to watch it. I think I watched like the last 2 rounds and then changed the channel right away. It was awful.
Yeah.
But hey, I will say one thing to Drew, man. Can I say one thing to Drew?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you I know you're dumping on Jaime Mumguia, and maybe rightfully so, right? But who's got the better resume, him or Boots? They're only a few months apart.
Here goes a comparison with Boots again. Drew, who's got the better resume?
Yeah, they're only a few months apart.
How old is Boots?
They're only a few months apart. They're about the same age.
Okay, they're about the same age. Not the same amount of pro fights, but then again, Jaime got started pretty early in Tijuana. It's not uncommon to start fighting professionally at 16.
They're not in the same weight division, Nando. So what's your fucking point?
Resume, fool. Boots ain't never fought nobody like Jaime Mumguia's fought already.
Here's the thing.
And don't forget, dude. Jaime Mumguia did sign up to fight Triple G when he was in his prime.
Middleweight.
Don't forget about that. It wasn't his fault that he backed
talking about
out.
2 weight divisions apart from each other, man. So what's your point? Like what the
My
fuck?
point is, hey, they're about the same age, and Munguia's more advanced than
heavyweight?
Boots is.
Am I supposed to talk about Anthony?
No. I'm talking about our favorites, Drew. I'm talking about one of your favorites.
And
I'm talking about one of your favorites. You like to attack people?
Chocolatito's resume? No, because the two.
Hey, if you want to keep on burping, Drew. Hey, if you want to keep on burping, Bruce, go ahead. Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead. Keep on babying.
All right, well, let the chat get in on this.
Fucking point. What the fuck is your point? Like,
if
point is,
all right, guys, hold this thought. If Jaime Mumguia has the better resume, type 1 in the chat. Jaime's number 1 in the chat, and Boots number 2. They aren't in this. Definitely. Well, he makes a very valid point, and that's the fact that they're not in the same weight divisions. And Jaime Mumguia has fought multiple weight divisions now, and he's the world. He has won a world title. He's a former 154-pound champ, which he earned rightfully. I mean, so I do give Nando credit on that, Drew, that they are about the same age, but Jaime's got a leg up on him being a former world champion for sure.
I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm tired of shit tonight, and I'm tired for that Caressa Shears fight, and I don't want Nando to add to my sleepiness tonight because he's making me more tired just listening to the fucking bad fucking arguments tonight.
Shout out to Sonteo Media. Tony Boswell, long time. Thank you for coming in here. Mom Food, saludos. Nice to see you as always. Guys, it looks like the chat is split on who's got a better resume. Somehow it always goes back to Boots, man, but he's not on the chopping block this week, Nando. Jaime Mumguia. What does Jaime Mumguia have to do to get to a world title fight in his in this weight class? Because Drew, did you tell me this is at 168 on the down low? Because I thought
This is at the 168 too. Now that's actually 3 weight divisions now. So what the fuck? Like, so here's the thing, man.
Hey, we can compare different weight classes. That's what we got pound for pound is. It's not impossible to compare these two guys. Nando. It's not impossible, dude.
They made that fight. They made that fight official with Roman. That's going to take place in Atlantic City in July. So that fight's already been made already.
It's about time. That's his first tough fight he's ever had.
And
that's his first tough fight he's ever had. Almost 26 years old, and they're finally going to get the diapers off of him. Good.
Yeah, Jaime Mumguia finally moves the fuck up. Jaime Mumguia finally fighting a tough fight somewhat. And Dovichenko, it's the right time to fight him because he's been for wars and everything. But it's probably going to still be a tough fight for him. But look at it like this. This was supposed to be at 160, and when fucking Oscar fucking put out there, petitioned the fucking WBC to fucking make Charlo, I guess, a champion of recess. Excuse me, and let Hyman and fucking Dovichenko fight for the title. They rejected it. So now they decided to move the fight to 168, which I think is a little bullshit because now you want to give it's more of an advantage for Hyman, especially if he's near 168 and doesn't have to lose any more weight. And Dovichenko's never fought at 168.
Well, it seems nobody wants to fight at 160, and Tony Boswell points out this criticism is valid, I think. It's very valid of Jaime Mumguia, his stop at 160. I don't understand why Mumguia didn't fight for the vacant IBF title at 160. You can say what he wants, but he definitely avoided the Janibek fight and the Boo Boo Andrade fight, Drew. It seems like he did not want to stay at 160 and take the difficult tests, including a fight that did not materialize between Charlo for whatever reason. If Oscar couldn't make it happen or whatnot, they didn't try hard enough. He definitely didn't get tested at 160, but all of a sudden he finds himself at 168 pounds dreaming of a, in fact, Oscar pointed this out and said this: to save Mexican boxing, Canelo, you have to fight my guy, Jaime Mumguia. To save Mexican. This is going to save Mexican boxing. Do you agree with that, Nando?
Save Mexican boxing. Fight David Benavidez.
Huh?
You fight David Benavidez, you want to see
Nobody brings up David Benavidez. In fact, you're right. You're right.
I don't give a fuck about this Jaime Mumguia Canelo fight.
If Jaime really is going to sit at 168 now and contend, the conversation is going to have to happen about him getting across and fighting some of those PBC stable guys. That includes David Morrell, who's green, got very few fights, on paper, would probably give Jaime Mumguia the hardest test of his life. Caleb Plant, a former world champion, even an Anthony Durrell at 30, older. This is the kind of opposition he likes to fight, older guys at the end of their prime. Anthony Durrell, David Benavidez, the monster, the Chicano monster,
whatever
you want to call him. They all beat him?
They all fucking beat him.
Will he fight any of them? I think it's more likely. I think it's more likely that they put him against Edgar Berlanga next, because I don't see Edgar Berlanga
for sure.
I don't see Edgar Berlanga getting a crack at Canelo Alvarez before. Well, maybe, guys.
That's a fucking cherry pick if he takes that fight.
I like that fight, David. I like that fight. That's a good fight, Dave.
What, Jaime Mumguia versus Berlanga?
I think it is a great. Well, I think it sells. I think it sells well.
Yeah,
it sells.
Yeah.
I'd rather see that fight than fucking Canelo and Berlanga. I think the Canelo and Berlanga fight's a cherry pick.
Oh, absolutely. I said it on some show that I was, guys, by the way, last Monday I was sick for 6 days. I barely got over it, man. I lost my voice all over again. In 90 days that I've been living in Vegas, I've been sick twice. It's just fucking germ central, man. I go out, I party out. If I go out and party hard, I come back with a flu of some sort. So, but anyways, I digress. The Edgar Berlanga fight, Drew, if it materializes at the Zone because they cannot make a fight with Canelo Alvarez and force him into a fight, I'm all for it, man. I think it's a great fight. Mexico versus Puerto Rico.
I do agree with Tony. I think John Ryder does beat fucking Jaime Mumguia.
John Ryder is a fantastic opponent.
I do agree with Tony on that one. I think Ryder does beat Mumguia.
He's got a lot of experience, John Ryder. He's crafty. He looked fantastic in his loss to Canelo. And I think that's a great fight, especially since Canelo just fought him. Sometimes to get the fight against the top dog, you got to fight the guy he just beat, and you have to make it look more impressive, which is exactly what David Benavidez did against Caleb Plant. Fight the opponent that Canelo had just beat and try to look more impressive. Try to look like you'd be a threat. So I agree with you guys that John Ryder is a great matchup for Jaime Mumguia, but also a very difficult and risky one that could derail the entire notion of Jaime Mumguia being a world champion at 168. It all depends on what Canelo wants to do next. David. Go ahead.
I'll say one thing, Dave, for Jaime Mumguia, right? He can lose, dude. He's like one of those guys that it's okay if he loses, man. As long as he makes for an entertaining fight, it's okay if he loses, man. You don't have to be perfect, right?
I agree with you.
Floyd Mayweather era, that's over with, man.
I agree with you.
I've been saying that. I'll keep on watching him.
I've been saying that since I started watching the kid since his inception, and I knew that he was a special classic throwback type fighter that is always going to deliver somehow an entertaining performance. And that's what he is. But he has gotten much, much better now. You know, in that fight against Gabe Rosado, I saw a lot of new offensive tricks, man. This is a guy who's capable of throwing 6 to 8 punch flurries. The defense has always been his weakest aspect of his game. But as far as being an offensive powerhouse, he's got it. He's got that. And against the right kind of guys matched up, he's always going to deliver an exhilarating performance, win, lose, or draw.
I think the best thing for Hyman is to chase a law fight because he's old. It could be a winnable fight for him still. It could be a winnable fight. I still think Law beats him, but it's a winnable fight.
So you want him to go back down?
He's gonna need to because I don't think he's going to do anything at 168 with all those names up at 168. Because what's he going to do? Are you going to look for people to fight him?
Yeah, he's hoping for either Gennady Golovkin or Canelo.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not going to get a Golovkin. Golovkin's not going to entertain the fight. Canelo's not going to entertain the fight because if any fights Canelo's going to have to entertain, it's going to have to be a David Benavidez fight unless he's going to allow Bivol to fight for his titles and everything. Like, nobody wants to see a Jaime Mumguia versus Canelo fight. I'm sorry, nobody wants to see that. It's a load of bullshit. I don't want to see the fight. I think it's somewhat of a cherry pick if he fights Jaime Mumguia because I think he easily beats Jaime Mumguia.
He probably does. He probably does. But I'd like to see the fight that saves Mexican boxing.
Hey, save Mexican boxing. It's fucking David Benavidez is going to save Mexican boxing if he fights him.
All right, I'm going to...
It's that fucking challenge that everybody thinks Benavidez is going to be. It's that shit that people are going to demand it because if he goes and fights a cherry pick, fans are going to turn against him, and then people are trying to say, Canelo can do what he has the right to do what he wants, whatever he wants now. No, he does not. We cannot hold him to doing that because the last generation, we let Floyd Mayweather do that shit, and look at the state of boxing is put in because of that shit, for letting him do that. We cannot go back to that bullshit. We have to fucking put him on a pedestal because he is the cash cow. That means you have to take risk to put entertaining fights on so we can be loving the sport again. Not to be doing what we were doing when Mayweather was around and everything. Fuck that shit.
Canelo has done that, though. Hey, Drew, Canelo has done that, though. He's consistently been fighting the top opposition since he was 22 years old, man. I don't know what you're talking about with him going to cherry pick this and that. He's not going to cherry pick. Wait, hold on, Drew. He's not going to have a cherry pick on September 13th. I guarantee it. It's either going to be Benavidez or it's going to be Bivol. One of those two guys is going to fight on September 13th. It's not going to be. It's not going to be Berlanga. It's not going to be Mumguia. Forget about that. It's not happening. That's not Canelo's MO. It never has been.
But but I'm just saying, you see the fans on Twitter fucking saying that shit? He has the ability to do what he wants. I don't give a fuck about that. That's not fucking right.
Twitter don't mean shit, though. Twitter ain't shit, dude. I don't have one homeboy on Twitter, dude. I don't have a single homeboy on Twitter right now that loves boxing that's on Twitter, dude. I'm only on there like barely. Dude. I follow 100 people. That's it. You know?
Thought I was
Twitter ain't shit. If Twitter was something, dude, Lomachenko be selling $1 million pay-per-views.
I thought I was
Twitter
your
meant
homeboy.
Something, dude.
I feel some type of way now. I feel he's your homeboy.
You're my homeboy too. No, you're my homeboy, dude. You are my homeboy. You're right. You're my homeboy. No, you're right. I take it back.
Well, guys, speaking of the 100, we're speaking on the 168-pound division, and this did materialize this week on social media, and that's that Canelo receives an offer from Team Benavidez to fight accordingly in September. Samson Lekoskowicz, his manager, reveals the offer has been sent to Eddie Reynoso, and apparently it's a very lucrative. Now, how's that some shit? Benavidez sending the cash offer to fight? Hey, I want to see how this plays out, guys. But let's wrap up this Jaime Mumguia Derevchenko. Derevchenko's been in there with the best. I mentioned he's been in there with people like Gennady Golovkin, which some people say it was a very contested fight that maybe should have gone in the favor of Derevchenko. He lost to Charlo legitimately. He lost to Danny Jacobs. Carlos Adames, a contender. This is why I think, and I'm going to say it right now, Jaime Mumguia comes out victorious this Saturday. And it may not be much to brag about, but it's going to look like a good win because I think Derevchenko has just enough left in his tank to give the younger Jaime Mumguia a lot of problems this Saturday. But ultimately, it's going to bring out the best in Jaime Mumguia. This could be the better fight of the night. We'll see. Both of these fights have the potential to be great fights. Jaime Mumguia comes out victorious. And where he goes after that, we're going to remain to be seen. Nando and then Drew. Nando, what's your pick?
Hey, one last thing, David. You can't convince me. I think Jaime Mumguia should stay at 168 if he wins this weekend. I think he's going to win. Because I like that Ryder fight, and I like the Berlanga fight next for him. And I think 168 might be a pretty good division for him. It might make for some entertaining fights.
Pretty good matchup. Yeah, and like you said, they're either, I don't know where Berlanga is with Matchroom or not, but he's signed to DAZN, and John Ryder was promised by Eddie Hearn that he would definitely be picking up some quality fights with the performance he had against Canelo. Who wins this fight, though, Saturday, Nando?
I got Mumguia by stoppage. Like Drew said, man, I think Derevchenko, he's been in too many wars. He's a smaller dude, and I think he's looking for the cash out, and this is like the perfect fight for the cash out for him.
All right, Drew. So, Drew, and your pick was?
I'm going Jaime here. I think it's going to be the mid to late round stoppage. It's just too many wars, man. Like, he's just been on the bad end of too many decisions and everything. I just don't think he's that live of a dog anymore. Like, it's the right time for Mumguia to fight this guy and everything. It's a signature win. It's the right time for him to do it. So why not do it in style and be the first guy to stop Derevchenko?
Right on, guys. And here we are with the big fight week this weekend in New York City, the home of the Takeover. And the Takeover lives right here in Las Vegas, Drew. And what was so interesting about that interview I heard earlier today, Drew, is the fact that he says, okay, regarding his contract with Top Rank and Bob Arum, he is obligated to stay with them until the end of this year. He said 2024. When asked by Marcos Villegas, he says, well, that means you've got quite a few more fights in you, don't you? And he was like, not necessarily. And he said, this was the funniest shit. He said, I'm an expensive whore. If you want to buy out my contract, you can. This things can be done. Drew, he's looking for an exit out of Top Rank. If he wins this fight, he would like to ideally become Teofimo Promotions and just be an independent player like Canelo Alvarez, like other people who get to sign one-fight deals. But he is contractually obligated to Top Rank. We've heard him say the crazy shit, outlandish shit that he doesn't think is promoter. In fact, almost racial shit. Things that shouldn't be acceptable language today, that he feels that he is the black sheep of Top Rank, that nobody cares about him anymore, that he was the highest... he had the highest ratings of anybody on ESPN, and that he needs the money and he needs the big money to get paid because he has he got a big family. This is really sad, guys. He's got to pay for his nieces and nephews. Why is everyone in Teofimo's family looking for a handout? Why does he have to feed everyone in his family? Can you imagine the fucking pressure if you had 10 to 20 people looking for you to pay their way in life? Is this the root? Is this just one of the many problems in his life causing him all this mental anguish, dude, that everybody is like, you got to raise my baby? What about the guys who've impregnated his relatives? Where are those guys? All right, that's my comment. That's my rant for now, guys. That's my rant. This Saturday is going to be a hell of a fight. He did not have to pick Josh Taylor. Nando, did he have to pick Josh Taylor, the former undisputed? And he did not lose a single fight. A questionable win against Catterall, but he's still the guy who beat everybody, man. Did he have to pick this guy at 140? He's had enough tune-ups, enough tests. First, I got to ask you, Nando, did he beat Sandor Martin? Did he legitimately get that win against Sandor Martin?
I think he eked it out. Sandor Martin and Catterall are kind of the same type of fighters. They're kind of frustrating to watch, and they never quite do just enough to win, man. You know, Sandor Martin would have stepped on the gas a little bit. I think he would have won clearly. Same thing for Catterall, you know? It's just the way this shit works, you know? So,
yeah, both of those guys coming off.
Beat Sandor barely.
They coming off questionable losses, Drew. Are you impressed, Drew, with once he left the 135-pound division? A lot of people are asking Devin Haney, rematch Lomachenko. Give him the rematch. And people demanded the same thing of Teofimo, rematch Kambosos. And he said, no, I can't make the weight anymore. I'm not doing it. Whatever. Fuck that loss. In fact, he remember Teofimo never accepted the loss against Kambosos. He said there was a conspiracy against him. So he didn't look like in his eyes, he didn't need to rematch the guy because he won that fight, which is where a lot of this delusional behavior stems from that fight. Like everything changed apparently after that Kambosos loss. I don't know if we'll ever see the Teofimo that was the takeover, that had that historic streak at the age of 23, beating everyone in front of him to win all those titles. And was he even the undisputed champ, Drew? I mean, Devin Haney says no. I had the real WBC strap.
Fuck no, he wasn't real undisputed. And I think ESPN had to stop pushing that narrative because they tried to say Kambosos was undisputed.
Well, he showed up with Canelo. He showed up with Canelo with all those 4 belts. You know,
clout chasing. That's what he fucking does. Clout chase. Like build his brand. It didn't really do much for him. Like during that whole Kambosos fucking bullshit, he lost a lot of fans over it and everything. But at the same time, like it's funny. It's a lot of shit about this dude is funny as shit because I thought he clearly lost to Sandor Martin, and he looked like shit in that fight. He got knocked down twice, and they only credited him once for a knockdown. He clearly got knocked down twice and everything. But like he clearly crushed himself in the ring. Do I still got this and everything? It's a guy that's mentally checked out. He's mentally is not in the game no more. He's food to Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor smells blood. This is going to be the retirement of Teofimo Lopez this weekend. This is going to be the public execution of Teofimo this weekend. Because I believe this right now. Josh Taylor goes in there and destroys Teofimo and puts the rest of the doubt in him. Because to tell you the truth right now, man, it's just so outside of boxing and everything, man, this dude let everything outside of boxing get to him. And his dad's no fucking help to him. His dad's fucking is a glorified hype man that wants the fucking attention. And god damn it, he fucking drank before the Kambosos fight.
Yeah, there was a lot of okay. Well, I don't want to get into the substance abuse issues. Oh, we do have another caller on the line. Just hold a second here. I just see that one here. Drew, what I wanted to say, and this is a great comment by Tony Boswell. Teo has to do this all by himself. His dad isn't a cornerman or a trainer. He doesn't give any kind of advice on how to adjust during the round or the entire fight. When Joey left, his performance dropped, in my opinion, Drew, and the fans of boxing were calling for Teofimo to make a change in his corner. And he said, above all, loyalty is the most important thing, and there is nothing wrong between the relationship between my father and I. I'm just basically paraphrasing it.
Yeah,
and I think that this weekend is going to be crucial for him to see when shit hits the fan in the midway rounds or when he tastes the canvas against and gets dropped. And I'm going to get to the fight plan because I see it. I see him getting checked. He's going to get chin checked. Sandor Martin caught him with that nasty, what was that, his lead hook, counter hook, and he's going to walk right into that. The habits Teofimo has of lunging in is going to be, like you said, it's going to be food for Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, the former undisputed champ, man, you could ask Ramirez how hard this guy hits, man. I stood next to Josh Taylor. That dude is a mean bastard, man. I was at the Virgin Hotel when that melee went down, and Josh Taylor was ready to fight in the hallways of the Virgin Hotel casino. I mean, he's ready to go, man. He's a mean dude, and he's gonna look to be hurting Teofimo. Hey, Nando, can we take this call?
Yeah, dude. I'll just make a prediction real quick before you guys let me go. I got a Teofimo by decision. I think he's seen the best right now. His career might be over if he loses. And both him and Taylor have questions coming into this fight, man. It's like a good old-fashioned HBO Boxing After Dark this weekend. So you guys enjoy the fights, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm going to take 209 real quick.
Dave, knockout.
Interesting. I'm going to take 209 real quick and then 925. Hold on real quick. 209, you're on with the Shoe Shine. What's going on in Stockton area? The 209, right?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on with the Shoe Shine. 209, is that Stockton?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Who we talking with?
Carlos Villalobos.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, Carlos, man. Your thoughts, man. You want to chime in on this Teofimo Josh Taylor fight this weekend?
Yeah, man, I got a question for Drew, man, because he's so confident about Teofimo is gonna get whooped, right?
Okay.
And so, when Teofimo fought Lomachenko, because that's really what you got to judge it on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly because he was the better dudes out of Kambosos and out of him and Kambosos, Lomachenko. Who fought him better?
Who fought him better?
Between Devin Haney or
Devin Haney? Yeah.
Okay.
But then Devin Haney, because I know Drew's a big Devin Haney fan, right?
Hell no.
No, but I'll let him answer that, and then I'll give you my answer too. Go ahead, Drew. Who fought that fight better, Teofimo or Devin Haney?
I'm gonna be honest. I thought Teofimo before Lomachenko better. Like he was trying to be explosive as the bigger man, but he had the power behind it. But here's the thing: he won one of his only round. I gave him round 4 against Teofimo, and I gave him 6 to 11 on my card too. And he was figuring out the bigger man, and he was starting to back the bigger man up, and he was starting to hurt the bigger man too in that fight. But like in the Kambosos fight, it was more like a boxing fight with Kambosos, because after the knockdown, Kambosos went into more of being a boxer than a guy that was trying to brawl the whole fight with Teofimo, tried to knock him out and everything. And he was being more successful boxing him than he was. But I believe he was more mentally beaten in that fight than he was in the Lomachenko fight, because Kambosos got under his skin that whole time with the whole fucking building, fucking the whole delays and everything. But this is a more if you look at it like this is a guy Taylor, this is a guy that can box. This is a guy that has a lot of power against his punches. This is a guy that can knock you out, that can hurt you. If you watch the Jose Ramirez fight from Fresno, because he's probably close to your area and everything. So this is why. And the guy that after the Sandor Martin fight, it says, do I still got this? It's a guy that's mentally checked out. And you don't want to let people know that you're mentally checked out in the ring or even on national television when you're getting ready to, and then you get matched up with probably the king of that division, a guy that can really hurt you and expose you even more. Because I tell you the truth, I thought the Sandor Martin fight exposed Teofimo a little bit. He was unable to cut the ring off, and he got caught by Sandor Martin a couple times. He only got credit for one knockdown, as I was saying earlier, and he clearly got knocked down twice by Sandor Martin. Got countered. So Teofimo is easy to counter now, and Josh Taylor is a terrific counterpuncher and everything.
Okay.
And even though,
so I hear you, right? I hear what you're saying, right? But this is my take on that, right? All the great champions lost. You know what I mean? The legendary ones, not these scary dudes nowadays that don't want to fight nobody, right? And so Teofimo, I think the problem with Teofimo is his mentality when he comes into a fight. If he thinks he's going to dominate the fight really good, I don't think he really prepares for a long fight. You know what I mean? And so he comes in, he thinks he's going to dominate, but then when the guy's a little bit better than he thought, then he kind of, has struggled. But because when he came with Lomachenko, he came focused. Look, remember that he took the belt from Comey. He took the belts from Lomachenko. Who was the guy that he fought before that he knocked out too?
Nakatani.
He didn't knock Nakatani out, but he struggled with that.
No, he did not. But he struggled with him. But who doesn't struggle with that dude?
Roman didn't struggle with him.
Right?
Yeah, but Nakatani was washed up. Nakatani
clearly dominated and knocked him out.
Yeah, for the record, Carlos.
But, that's.
For the record, Carlos, my opinion is that what Teo did was historic on his run as 23 years old. The resume is incomparable. Devin Haney only had to beat one guy to accomplish to get all those belts, and he questionably did not win that fight against Lomachenko. So of all the four kings, Teofimo Lopez did the most outstanding things, in my opinion, at lightweight in his run at lightweight. That's where I stand, man. Carlos, I appreciate you so much for being a new caller, man. But who do you think is going to win this fight Saturday?
No, I listen, man. I think it's a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know why? Because I've seen it, man. I've seen how people prepare for the amateurs, for the nationals and stuff. I've watched this stuff, and sometimes these fighters come in and they're really good, but why do they seem like they suck? Like, man, I don't even look like him. And there's just something that goes on sometimes in their life, or however, whatever position. And that dude having his dad in his corner is like a weight. To me, I believe that, right?
Okay.
It's like a weight and all the problems and stuff. And so, but if he comes in focused and he comes in knowing what to do, I think he can outbox Taylor. You know why? I'm going to tell you like this. Because Teofimo knows how to use his distance on a boxer. What he don't know how to do is take that pressure. If you come and pressure him a lot with some hard punch, he's not going to know what to do. But if you stand on the outside of him and he pops at you all day long, he's going to do it. And he knows how to use that long distance. And he's going to stay away from the power shots. So I'm you know what? Just me talking about it right now, I can see how that's going to go. The only advantage that I see Taylor having is his size, because that boy's big.
Yeah, he is. He's a good 5'11", 6 feet tall.
Yeah, man, I've seen him, and then he's really big, and I'm like, he should be fighting at 147.
Yeah, he could easily make that division.
And he could easily make 147. And so, but Teofimo, that's why I'm like, man, he picked a killer for reals to go up to 140 and fight.
No doubt.
But I think Teofimo can pull it off. I probably got 60-40 Teofimo. That's what I got.
Man, I appreciate you calling. We're going to go to our boy Lukey. Carlos, you can call back anytime. And thank you for that opinion, man. I appreciate your phone call. That's Carlos.
All right, my brother.
Take care, brother. So that's Carlos from the 209 calling from Central
Hey,
Valley.
the new callers in, huh?
No, I appreciate that because a difference of opinion is fine with me. For one thing, Teofimo is one of the most athletic, and when he was the world champion, it showed that he was the most athletic character at 135 pounds. He can bank on that athleticism and use that to not get caught. If he doesn't do the lunging type moves, man, he has the ability to win some rounds. And we have to take in consideration that Josh Taylor is coming off a 1-year layoff in a fight where he did not perform optimally. And this is why we watch boxing, man. But 925 is us on the air. Is this our homeboy Lukey?
Yeah, it's Lukey.
Lukey, what's good, homie?
Shout out Carlos too. I know Carlos. I'm pretty
huh?
sure he's got sons that fight in the amateurs. So shout out to him if he's listening.
No, I appreciate
This
Carlos
Lukey
for calling
from,
in.
Out at Lions Den. So shout out Carlos. Shout out his kids. I shot a video with them and Cordell, Mari's godfather. So.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you calling in, Carlos, too, man. Lukey, it's been a minute. I was asking you on social media the other day because 140 pounds is cooking, and we had your homeboy Arnold Barboza Jr., who was in talks with Regis Prograis. When we talk about Teofimo picking one of the hardest opponent, I mean, you pick him or Regis Prograis, and you're in for a rude awakening at 140 pounds. What's going on in the division, in the 140-pound division, man? Now we got to add to the.
It's a real division. Like, name a fighter that sucks at the top level.
Or Raleigh? No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I mean, even then, that's a guy that hits hard.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and I'm not going to take that away from Raleigh Romero. He's a Cancelo fight, and he can hit very hard. So everybody's clamoring to fight him.
We got Richardson Hitchens. Like, you got Richardson Hitchens up there, and no one's talking about him. He's a dog. Gary Antoine Russell, no one's talking about him. He's a dog. You got people acting like Jose Ramirez isn't good. He's a dog. Barbosa's going to be good. Sabril Matisse is a monster.
He sure is. He looked real good at PBC
if you're
the
a
other
day. If you're a top 10 guy, and you want to make $1 million, you can't really be soft. You got to go up or down if you're in this division.
I agree with you 100%.
So.
Can you enlighten us a little bit, though, on the Arnold Barboza? For people who aren't very closely following that situation, Arnold has been doing everything he's supposed to do the way an old school fighter does, and that's fight everyone that the sanctioning body asked him to fight to move himself up in position for a mandatory. He did that, but then the negotiations fell apart, and not everybody knows all the facts. Can you enlighten us on why Regis Prograis took an opponent?
Look. Did Arnold beat?
No. Can you enlighten us as to why Regis Prograis fight fell apart?
Well, I mean, I haven't talked to Arnold. He I believe he's frustrated right now. We just haven't touched bases, but I feel comfortable speaking on the situation the way I understand the situation. So I'm not going to phrase it like I'm speaking for Arnold, Rick Marigian, or anyone on his team.
Okay.
But I think it's just as simple as this. The fans look and go, oh, man, you've never gotten a world title fight. And look, I don't know his situation, but he's got kids, and training camps are expensive. I don't know what type of shape he's in right now. And when you fight Regis, you have to really be ready. This Arnold is, I believe his contract expires in August, right? So if his contract expires, that's a valuable asset, right? Now you're coming in to a fight possibly not in tip-top shape against one of the most grueling physical punchers who's been training for this fight date and a homecoming. You're just putting yourself in a position that you've worked really hard your whole career to really be up against the wall, that I feel like any person, if this was your cousin or your brother or your uncle, you'd tell them, hey, man, just wait it out. Let's wait for a better opportunity. But because fight fans are like, man, we want to see the best fight, they don't really use like logic like if they knew the individual. So, I mean, Regis is a tough fight to take on 3 weeks' notice. And Arnold is someone who, if anyone knows Arnold, he has a rigorous training method in which he really pushes himself to the limit. He's kind of almost like compulsive in his manners of preparation. I'd compare it to John Jones almost. So without knowing the situation, do you know what I mean when I say John Jones? John Jones wouldn't take a short notice fight because he couldn't get the preparation. Didn't take a 24-hour fight because he needs a 8-week camp. I mean, it's just that's the way I see the situation.
I think we lost Dave.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I think we lost Dave. So I'll be honest
Yeah,
with you.
just talk to me, Philly Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, be honest with me. I don't care.
I look at it like this. There was like numerous situations of Arnold talking about the pro grade fight and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it like this. You know, he should have got a title fight by now with someone like Taylor, Prograis, Rolly. Unfortunately, he's not gonna get that shot because the WA already ordered somebody to fight him and everything. He's in that limbo now. But I look at it like this. Why hasn't Arnold been in a fight that can really set him up to become the mandatory for one of these guys? Like, I look at it like this. Teofimo, he took the Josh Taylor fight. Understandable. It's a more difficult fight in my opinion. He's the king of that division. But I want to know why can we not get like a fucking Barbosa versus Jose Ramirez fight? But I believe Jose Ramirez would have ducked the fight and everything because I think he ducked the Prograis fight at too. So, but
well, Drew, I think the issue is. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I think Barbosa is, like, one of these guys that's kind of like one of my guys, right? Like Demetrius Andrade. He's an old-school fighter who says yes. He's a low-risk, high-reward fighter. And what I mean by that is he's a low financial gain. You don't get paid more than you do, but you have to fight your butt off because he's coming and you got to bring a lunch. And because you have to work hard and train hard for him, a lot of guys go, okay, I'll fight Barbosa, but is there someone that gets me paid more? So in the instance of Teofimo, I think you look at it and it's like, did another zero get added to his check for fighting Josh Taylor? And did that make that fight happen? I think the problem is Barbosa never can seem to get the fight that gets him the financial opportunity for people to feel all right fighting him.
I think another name we could look to for Arnold to fight is Jose Zepeda. Even though he was knocked out by Prograis and everything, is still a top contender at 140. He did have a good fight with Jose Ramirez and everything. He's still ranked in the top of the 140-pound division. But like now he's a golden boy. I think Jose Zepeda is now a golden boy. So that's probably going to be hard to fight to make. But it's just like there's not really a lot of opportunities for Arnold left that get a fight at 140 to get him closer to a title fight. Then what's next? Had the team even talked about potentially moving to 147 to pursue opportunities? Even though
he could make 135. He could make 135.
135, because tell you the truth, Devin's most likely going to vacate. It looks like that route he is going to go vacate probably because it's out Shakur Stevenson, the Tank Davis fight, or a Lomachenko rematch, which I doubt he'll give a Lomachenko his rematch, and I think that should be the fight that should happen. I doubt he fights Shakur Stevenson, and I doubt a Tank Davis fight's going to happen because there's so many obstacles for the fight. Because basically, you're going to have two guys argue who deserves to be the A side, and Devin Haney's only walk of fame to be an A side is I'm the undisputed champion. But here's the thing: you saw only 150,000 pay-per-views, right? Tank is a better pay-per-view seller than you, so that makes Tank the A side and everything. You're gonna have a rehydration clause, and The fight's gonna fall apart before in the beginning stages of negotiation. So if the belts are most likely are gonna be scattered apart, and he could go down to 135. Like if you say he can make 135, why not go down to 135 and fight for a vacated belt eventually?
Lukey, I appreciate you coming on the show. I have to ask you, Lukey.
What was that? Yeah, go for it.
Well, I was going to ask you, with Devin Haney still being contracted to Top Rank and eventually moving up to 140, potentially while still in contract with Top Rank, how much that complicates someone like Arnold Barboza, who's been steadily climbing up the rankings. Do you feel that people who are automatically world champions in the weight class below should get a crack and be fast-tracked like Teofimo did in just a couple of fights at an opportunity, even though Arnold has been fighting at 140 for a very long time now, that somebody like Devin Haney should just immediately jump to 140 and get a crack at whoever's got the belt?
Look, boxing is not a sport, it's politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a business, it's politics. So Arnold's got a really good manager, Rick Morigian. He's really good at what he does. And it's no secret. They got to come up with a game plan and a campaign, and they got to try to get elected, because what they're doing is not getting them the fights they want, right? So now they have to change the election campaign, you know? That's where it begins and ends at. And where, in terms of, there is no right or wrong in boxing. It's who makes the most money and who puts the most butts in seats. And then we figure out the morality after that. If we're being honest, if you want me to sugarcoat it, then I can go about it and say that in a bunch of different words and kind of take you on a ride, like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disneyland. I could mix your head up like a blender and say it in 5 different ways, but I don't feel like doing that to you today. So that's where it begins and ends at, is who are the fighters that the fans will pay to see? Who are the fighters the network wants to invest in? When you start circling those names and you can match those fighters up, somehow the rankings are going to correlate to those type of fighters. Sadly, there's guys like Arnold Barboza, Demetrius Andrade. There's always a guy. David Morrell kind of fits this category right now. Who's another one? Raiz Aleem is a great example of another guy. Kenny Sims Jr. is another guy. These guys that really have earned spots through athletic achievement, but the fans are kind of like, whatever. Like, they like them in their hometowns, but they're like, we want to see the guy with the pizzazz, you know, the Instagram followers and all that. That's what the sport's always been, the circus. If you go to the circus, don't be surprised if you see a clown. And if you see a clown, you shouldn't expect for something rational to happen, right? So, I mean, you're asking me a two-sided question. Do I think it's right? No. Is it reality? Yes.
Sadly. Today I read that Jose Ramirez is reported to be arriving in New York this weekend to watch the main event. Of course, he's also with Rick.
Was that my story?
Was that your story on Pro Box? Shout out to Lukey.
I think, yeah, that's my story. Yeah, that's a Lukey exclusive.
I read so much Lukey stuff that I forget. Break that down, man. So Jose Ramirez thinks Teofimo's going to win, or is he being sincere that he wants a rematch with Josh Taylor?
Well, I got an interview with Ramirez coming out on Wednesday. That's a Meridian interview. But talking to Rick and Jose, I don't really get a sense that they favor anyone. Do you want me to shoot with you straight, Philly Drew and Sue Shine?
Yeah.
Or should I lie to you guys?
No, shoot it straight. I'm interested because
I won't.
Jose seemed to get the bad end of publicity.
Well, no, what I'm, and this is not Team Ramirez, this is not Team Rick, this is Team Lukey, and Lukey looking at what I'm seeing at this fight. Is that what you want to know, or do you want me to tell you about the Ramirez? Because I'm going all over the place.
I want to know
about
the story.
Fight, when I look at this fight, I see Josh Taylor, and I say, does his body have enough go to be the guy that we know he is? Is his leg healthy? That, to me, is the underlying issue no one's bringing up. He's had an Achilles injury. His leg doesn't seem to be the same since. I think that's the elephant in the room with the Catterall fight, is we don't know if he ever got healthy. And I think that people are overlooking his health. He's either going to be the same guy, or we're going to look and it's going to be Sergio Martinez. With Teofimo Lopez, we have highs and lows like the weather. So when he's real good, he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
When he's real bad, we're confused and we're saying it. Teofimo's coming in on an emotional bender, saying he's getting divorced. He's saying a lot of things I don't want to hear a fighter saying, because I don't believe in emotion. I don't want to hear a soldier go to war and tell me a bunch of emotional things. I want them to be stone cold and stoic, because it's serious. Taylor doesn't have those issues. Taylor, I believe, would walk through hell to get to his family. I don't think that Taylor has to talk to the world sometimes to convince the world that, because I get this sense. Do you guys get that sense from Teofimo that he's saying some of these things to talk himself into it?
Yes.
Because I'm kind of gathering that when he's saying some of these things. Josh Taylor's a scary guy. To say that you want to possibly kill him, a guy like Taylor is going to really be trying to pick on you fight week for saying that. He's going to instigate the hell out of you, and he's very big and he's very intimidating. So to me, that was kind of sounding like, I like Teofimo, but that sounds like he's trying to talk himself into the fight. Now, on the flip side, is Josh Taylor healthy? That's my, if Philly Drew, if the Shoe Shine audience can answer that question for me, please let me know, because I will place my bet. But that is the feeling. And I that's just my observation. And when I talk to these great fighters like Jose Ramirez, when I talk to great managers like Rick Marigian, I don't get a sense anyone knows who's winning this fight. I feel like they're just kind of like, it got made because people don't really know where these fighters are at. They're both coming off of lousy performances. No one has a sense who's the better fighter. That's my honest opinion. No one. I would not be shocked if Teo goes in there and stops Taylor in two rounds and Taylor's leg doesn't work. I would not be shocked if the exact opposite result happened. I wouldn't be shocked if this goes 12 rounds and it's a snoozer. No one has an idea how it's going to play out, because I don't think anyone believes in the fighter's last performances.
Go ahead, Drew.
I look at it like this, and this is my true opinion. And from what I look, I really think this. Josh Taylor is going to go in there, and it's going to be a one-sided ass kicking, because he's going to defeat an emotional wreck, Teofimo Lopez, until he stops him late. It's going to be a one-sided beatdown. I think he's mentally checked out. Once a fighter believes that he does not think he has it, or he questions himself, that fighter doesn't have it no more. If you look at fights in that same situation, let's say Lewis and Oliver McCall too. Oliver McCall was an emotional wreck in that fight, and that fight should have never happened. If a guy has to say, I'm going to kill this dude on another show, on another podcast, they'll know, like, here's the thing. When you got to say, I'm going to kill someone and it's a sport, you got some seriously mental issues. And when you have that host cheering it on and everything, that motherfucker got mental issues too, and got to check himself too. But at the end of the day, I don't care if it's to hype yourself, get yourself into the fight or anything. If you got to say, I'm going to kill this motherfucker in this fight, that's an issue, man. That is a real issue. To say that I'm gonna kill this motherfucker is really fucked up, because you think it's about killing somebody, boxing, and it's not. It's about being in a sport. Two gladiators, whatever people want to call themselves. It's not two murderers fighting each other. And I think that the way that he's fucking trying to portray it now, it's a guy that's really emotionally fucked up. And most of the blame I put on his dad, because his dad could have stopped the shit. but his dad's just a glorified hype man. And all he hopes on is, as long as he's getting the fucking attention.
I mean, his dad's a better coach than people give him credit for. I've been in the gym with him, and like, I think Junior is better than people think. I think that at times he needs to be more chill and more responsible. I think he gets his son wound up, but I don't think the coaching is as bad as people think. I think his dad's actually a good coach.
I think his dad did
And
a
that's
terrible
just my
job
opinion.
in the Cambosis fight. I thought he did a terrible job in the Cambosis fight. In my opinion, I think that he should have changed. I think he should have not have his dad as a trainer. I think you need someone that's going to get him out of habits that he has and get him more focused. Because to tell you the truth, right now, he's saying I'm fighting like he's an emotional wreck, Lukey. I'm sorry, he's an emotional wreck. And if you're an emotional wreck, you don't really need to be boxing. You really need to be taking care of your life. You say you're going through a divorce. You're going through this shit and everything. You don't need to you don't need to box. Seriously, you don't. You need to get your life together before you even go into the ring and box, because you got so much shit in your mind. This kid gets knocked out this weekend, and he gets knocked out bad. This kid's done. He ain't coming back from this. We're never going to get this kid back. He's going to be...
Billy Drew, I want to say one thing. In 2021, Teo versus Josh Taylor would be a battle of 2 pound-for-pound fighters, right?
Yeah.
In 2023, there's a chance the loser of this fight never fights again.
Very possible. Lukey, what you were mentioning about the Achilles injury, we hear about that type of injury in basketball and post-surgery. They are almost never the same. I had no idea that in the Catterall fight, he had an Achilles injury. That being said, if he's not 100%,
I'm pretty sure.
If he's not 100%, I can't give him this. I'm coming into today's show feeling certain that he's going to stop Teofimo late in the rounds with all of Teofimo's issues folding sometimes under the pressure, and Taylor being such a fantastic inside and rough fighter on his inside game, fantastic counter puncher, just like Teofimo, but a very heavy hitting counter puncher, especially with his hooks. I favored a healthy, that's the caveat, a healthy Josh Taylor to stop Teofimo in the late rounds. But if his Achilles isn't full and he can't plant his feet, and we all remember what happened with Sergio Martinez, then it becomes a totally different fight. And it's true, we haven't seen him fight in a year, and that last performance left a bad taste in a lot of fans who said Catterall should have walked away being the undisputed world champion of the world at 140 pounds. I'm still going to go.
He got injured in training.
Mm-hmm.
He got injured in training for the rematch, too.
Wow. It's hard to say. It's Monday. Yeah, I have to hear some more facts about what's going on. But Carlos, who our caller right before that, thinks Teal's got a shot, a 60-40 shot at
I
what he
think
was putting.
Teo's got a real shot in this fight. Like, I think that Teo has all the physical gifts to win this in two manners. But I think that, like, if it's just Teo doesn't always put together the performance. Like, Teo, like Carlos said it right, Teo can fight very emotional, and when he fights emotional, it's like everything goes out the window. But if he kind of does what he does well, which is how he should have fought Cambosis, which is kind of like jab, move backwards, load up on a right hand, left hook, and then pivot out, this could be a weird fight for Taylor. To me, Taylor's going to be fighting a lot on the inside. I do not think we're going to see Taylor on the outside or popping a jab. Just based on, and like, I can't remember what the leg injury is, but I'm pretty sure it's an Achilles, or it was something where I'm like, oh, that's going to change the way Taylor fights. So it's just a weird fight because I feel like both fighters are not what they were in their prime. And it's weird to say that about Teofimo, who's like, 25 years old?
Yeah. Wow. Drew, let me get your last opinion on this, and then I just want to start to wrap up the show. This is great news. Lukey, can you please remind us on Wednesday where people can see this interview you're going to have with Jose Ramirez?
That's ProBox TV. I mean, I can give you the whole thing. I've got the rise and fall of Broner tomorrow. I've got Josh Taylor's greatest hits tomorrow on ProBoxTV.com. TakeOver.com/news. Then I got Ramirez and something else that I forget. I got Raiz Alim talking about how he referred to scared boy Steph. Who else did I talk to? I got Bob Santos talking about David Morrell and how friggin' athletic he is. I got Shane Mosley Jr., who's calling out Michael Zarafa for August 5th, even though he's fighting on Saturday. So ProBoxTV.com news. Declan Warrington is live at Taylor Teofimo fight. Tris Dixon's the man, greatest boxing writer known to man that's not named Chris Glover. Chris Glover's the man. He's in charge over there. Abe Gonzalez always has awesome stuff. My guy Ben Blackwell pumping out the stuff. And Adam Noble Fury is going to be at the London card with Sonny Edwards that nobody in America is going to watch. But if you feel free to want to know stuff about that, go over to ProBox. And Adam's going to do a top job on that.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Well, that being said, Adrien Broner was also today, just earlier, describing how his weight loss has affected his penis size. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, is it bigger or smaller? I'm really interested.
Marcos couldn't believe it. He said, so you lost weight and it got smaller. And Adrien said, don't worry, I'll be back to my regular weights. He'll be back to his.
Well, if Lukey was conducting the interview, I'd want some numbers. So, like, what are we talking?
That was only his. I think that was his second question right out the gate. Adrien Broner doesn't fail to. But listen, one thing Adrien Broner did fail was just a few weeks back in Las Vegas. I actually got invited to that press conference with Don King and the free breakfast and all. And like Adrien Broner, I didn't wake up, so I'm really damn glad I didn't go to this whack ass press conference. But what can you tell me about Bill? Is it Hutchinson? This guy's an attorney.
Bro, I've never seen this guy until I watched a press conference on a live stream trying to get some quotes for ProBox TV. And, like, I literally didn't even write a story because I want to call him Wild Bill, but I think his nickname is Hutch. He seems like a really nice guy, man. It seems like he's going to take this serious.
Oh, yeah.
And he honestly feels like the type of guy that always fights Broner to a split decision at this point. Like he screams of a Giovanni Santiago type guy. I've never seen this guy.
Yeah, Giovanni Santiago is the guy who he recently fought on Showtime, right? Who many people thought, man, for Adrien Broner's return on Showtime, it was a fail.
Hey.
That was a gimme. Yeah, that was a gimme.
So he's a Northeastern guy. There's a lot of fabulous club fighters that have emerged from being club fighters to appearing on HBO. You know, I can think of like Mickey Ward, who went from being a club fighter. Bill Hutchinson said he's living the dream. This is a dream come true. To not only have excelled at something academically to become an attorney, but to get an opportunity to fight a 4-time world champion or 4-division world champion. This is a dream come true for the guy. So I don't take him lightly.
Pretty scary if you're in Broner's camp, right? Like you're fighting someone that's like saying all the things you don't want to hear, right? Like he's like, you never want to fight a guy that's saying like, I won't say the fight. I would say the fight, but out of respect for the people involved, I won't. But there's a fighter I deeply respect, and he was fighting someone I deeply care about. And I've told him this too. And at the press conference, I went up to the guy after and I go, gosh darn it. Don't want to demonetize this video for you, but gosh darn it. You're saying everything I hate from the opponent. It's like, he's like, I'm taking this fight serious. I'm not going to do the talking. It's like, oh God, it's a guy that's really serious about this. And it's like, doesn't Hutchinson sound like the guy, if you're with Broner, you're like, gosh darn it, why couldn't we find the guy that's like, seems like there's some flaws in him, you know? Oh man, I made it. I'm gonna get a lot of money. I can't wait to, like, you kind of, when you're in these stay busy type of fights, I always get nervous with the guys that fluctuate with performance when they're fighting a hard working overachiever.
Exactly. And a lot of the important questions that were asked today is, listen, if Adrien Broner gets an opportunity to win this fight, he's campaigning back at 140 pounds. They brought up why the fight with Regis and him fell apart. He has a lot of respect for Regis. But does a win against someone like Hutchinson, a club fighter, give him an opportunity? Could we be potentially seeing the return of Adrien Broner with a solid performance to put him in talks with some of these champions like Regis Prograis?
What the hell is that? Oh, let's see. So you want potential match?
Is it possible? Is it possible? The rise and you said the rise and fall. It's coming back. Does he have another rise moment?
Well, I mean, look, I'll throw to you the fights that in my head, if I was a matchmaker, which I'm not, I would be targeting. One is Blair Cobbs, right? Because they're both kind of goofballs.
Yeah, fun.
And it's just going to be a lot of that's going to sell. Another one is, let's say something bad happens to Teofimo in the Taylor fight. If they want to come back, say he's out of his top rank deal, what if you did Broner versus Teofimo? Both Florida-based guys, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That's another fight that could happen, you know? I mean, those are those are the type of fights I'm looking at for Broner currently.
Wow, I look really forward to reading that article. Guys, I did pass the marker. I want to thank Lukey so much for joining us as a call, and I'm going to put up, Lukey, your book. I always rave about this book. Make sure you guys...
Put up the book, and I got a new YouTube channel.
Okay.
I'm doing some stuff on my own.
Yes.
It's Lukey Boxing, Lukie Boxing. I'm starting from scratch. I'm broke. Everyone make fun of me. It's terrible. But, yeah, I got a channel there. Book, buy it. You guys are great. I told you I'd call in. Philly Drew in the building. I love a little Philly Drew in my life.
I appreciate you, Lukey, man. Make sure you guys check out his book on Amazon and his new YouTube channel and all his wonderful articles on ProBox and NYFights.com. Lukey, thank you so much. Drew, we'll wrap this shit up, man. It was a good show. Shout out to Mom Food for joining us. I just seen her coming in the room. Your final thoughts, man. There's a lot to digest because I'm not really realizing the extent of Josh Taylor having this leg injury. If he's fully healed, I anticipate a rough night for Teofimo. One that's going to humble him, once again, put him in the humble department. If he's not healthy and Teofimo really did talk himself into this fight, there's a good chance of an upset, man. There's a potential for an upset. A 100% physically fit Teofimo and mentally fit Teofimo is dangerous. Is it likely? I still find it unlikely. I find it unlikely, Drew. Like you said, there's a lot to consider here. The fact that his father doesn't give him the best advice at times in the ring that we've seen. I know Lukey says his father is a lot better than people give him credit for in his corner, but as of late, I haven't seen his dad give the right advice at the right time and get it into his son's head to make those adjustments. That's why I'm still going to favor Josh Taylor this Saturday, Drew. It's going to be very hard if he cannot make adjustments.
I'm going Josh Taylor by late stoppage. But like I look at on the Adrien Broner thing, hey, Adrien Broner wins this fight. Phil, you're going to still win this fight, man, because I tell you this right now, you can sue the motherfucker. You're loyal, man.
Adrien Broner looks skinny, man. I thought he wasn't going to show up to fight. He's going to show up Friday night. That's on Fight TV if you want to watch that, or if you could find it streaming. Do whatever you guys do. Adrien Broner's fighting Friday. I don't know who is paid. I don't even know where it's going to be, man. I've seen some of Don King's fights as of late, and they're like at high school gymnasiums, man. So I don't know. He had this good deal with that one channel that picked up Bud Crawford, and it fell apart, and here he is trying to rebuild his career once again the same way. I appreciate everybody rocking with the Shoe Shine Monday nights, and don't forget to hit the bell, the subscription, and all that good shit. Let me just give Drew one last chance to rant here. Take it away, Drew.
Man, I really don't want to talk about if it's not 147 pounds and below women's boxing. I damn sure don't want to fucking talk about it. Like seriously, I don't give two shits about the upper weight classes because there's not enough women to fight in that shit. And guys, let's look at it like this. We're gonna have fanboys come on us, and we might have, if the fight's a one-sided fight and Taylor wins a one-sided fight, we might have that fanboy that said the fight was a draw. He's gonna score. I scored it a draw. We might have that.
We might have a controversial decision. We might have a controversial decision again. They're fighting in the backyard of Teofimo Lopez, man.
We might have a fanboy fucking fake another car accident and say he got hit by an 18-year-old this time around.
Yeah, man, I find it hard to believe that that Jose Ramirez is there to get in line for a rematch against Josh Taylor. But if he is, man, kudos to Jose Ramirez. We will see this play out Saturday night. Appreciate all the love. Make sure you hit that subscribe. As I said, the like button really helps us out. Drop us a comment. And Philly Irish. And I will see you guys next week on the Shoe Shine. Peace out, guys.
Alicia, you're my homegirl.